Hey, what's going on, coaches? Thomas here from MyCoach Ai. And in this video, I want to go over reviewing check-ins. I want to give you a bit of an example workflow of how you can work inside of the MyCoach Ai system to, as efficiently as possible, work with check-ins so that it's a great client experience, you're thorough, but you're also pretty quick and efficient with it. And just make sure that you can really use and cover all of the bases that you have the ability to utilize here in the MyCoach Ai system, because it's quite a unique check-in feature, but can be really used super, super efficiently. And that all starts before we dive into the actual workflow with these check-ins. It all starts with the fact of how these check-ins are set up, which is one by one, because we want you to be able to review and make adjustments while scheduling the next check-in. And I'll explain a little bit more of what that looks like and what that actually means in a second here. But before we actually go to a completed check-in, to give an example, when you just get in for the day and you have check-ins to complete for the day, a quick tip. What I recommend you do is you look at two major sections of the MyCoach Ai system. The first one is right here on the dashboard that says, here's what's happening today. And it's going to show you any check-ins that have been scheduled for that day, with what client, at what time they are. You can even message them quickly from here. But that's a great tool. When you come in for the day, quickly check under here's what's happening, and you can see any check-ins that are due that day. Another really good tool, especially if you're working with a lot of clients, is that you can sort your active client list by check-ins and check-in status. So if I go and click on my active clients here, and I click on check-ins nearest to furthest, it's going to show me information about the check-in for every client. And I can easily see like, hey, this check-in has been scheduled, no action needed. Hey, this check-in has been completed, meaning that I can review it and schedule the next one. So there is some action needed, perhaps. And we even here have a check-in that was not completed, that is overdue. It shows me in red, so I can take action there if needed as well. But it's a really useful view, especially again, if you have a lot of clients. And I recommend you work with this when you go to do your check-ins. Most of us batch them together, which rightfully so. That's an efficient way to do it. So definitely this view of the tabs of your active clients is a great thing to utilize if you are doing those blocks of check-in reviews and want to do them efficiently. Now, for this example today, I'm going to go to a completed check-in of our client Christian here. Okay, so we're going to go to the check-ins section here under the client options. And we get to the check-in page where, again, what we have the ability to do is, now that we know a check-in has been completed, we have the opportunity to review it, make any adjustments, and then directly schedule the next one. And we can do all of those things directly at once, okay? That is the very efficient part of the check-in feature here that you may not be super familiar with, or it may seem a bit strange. Why can't I just schedule it for every Thursday or whatever? You essentially can, but again, we work with the assumption that in order to schedule the next check-in, you want to review and make adjustments based on the last one that was completed. So the flow looks like this. You get onto the check-in page, and the first thing you do is you view the check-in that was completed by the client. Click on the latest check-in, press view, and the overview comes up with any information they filled out. So progress pictures, any, measurements that you needed them to do, any text fields that you asked them to complete. Don't mind the stock images here. We're given a bit of an example so you can see the functionality of it. But all of this information of all of the questions that you asked on your check-ins is going to be right here. So what we can do from there is directly schedule the next check-in because this one was completed, but also review this information and make any adjustments where needed. We do that everything at the same time by clicking the respond and schedule button in the top right here. Okay. Now this is very cool. You may be working with, video reviews of check-ins, right? That's actually a really popular way to do it. Or maybe you do calls. Well, whatever it may be, if you hop on a call with someone, feel free to just, close out this little window here, share your screen on Zoom, and go over this with the client together on screen share. It's a great view for you to kind of summarize what is going on with the client and their check-in. And you're even going to see comparisons to another check-in completed before this. So you really have a good overview that you can show clients. Now, a lot of you like to do video reviews for check-ins. I would recommend honestly doing the same thing. Start your little Loom video right here on this page, go through the information that you're seeing, explain what changes you're going to be making, and then just have that sitting there with the link available, because in a second, you're going to see how we can attach that Loom link and that video to our check-in response. Okay, you can also just respond in text form. That's something we'll get to in a second here, but that's absolutely possible too. But so there's a couple different workflows to work with the client here. Now, in either case, we're going to afterwards go to respond and schedule. And this is where the magic happens for you to make any adjustments super easily. And I'll show you why. But the first thing that we do is select the next check-in date. This one was on Monday the 22nd, so it's automatically set it 1 week out for me on Monday the 29th, which I'm going to keep that way, but I can always switch it around if needed to, right? But I'm going to keep it on next Monday at 9 a.m. That looks good to me. I continue, and here is the phases where we can make adjustments for the client. So you've just taken in this information. You've seen where your client is at. You've seen their stats, and maybe you need to make some adjustments. You can do that right here to the nutrition, and on the next step as well to their schedule. So what you can do here is you see the macros, the previous check-in macros, the current macro profile. What you can do is use calculators, use auto slider to make quick adjustments, which I'm actually going to do here, and then also select nutrition profiles if ever needed. But what we can do is lock in a different set of macros right here, make any adjustments for the client. But while we're doing so, and this is true for the other adjustment steps as well, we have access to any information that we want to. And this is really cool. I can go to compare progress at the bottom here, look up front photos, compare to different dates, and have that view directly with me as I'm adjusting macros. I can go to our message history with this sidebar here, look at if the client has notified me of anything that's important for this, or go to their profile to see any notes that I may have on them, or even, of course, explore all of their metrics in total over time to see exactly what needs or doesn't need to change. So I have access to all of that information right here. Super useful. From there, I make any adjustments to nutrition, and I continue to the schedule, where you can do the same thing. You can make adjustments for this client, but right here in the check-in feature, make a slight adjustment, like adding a quick workout, making an adjustment to the workout for the week to come, anything like this. And while you're doing this too, you again have access to all of the different data, right? If you need to make a quick adjustment to a workout, so need to see some exercise stats, no problem. Everything is right here for you to review. That makes this super, super efficient. So you go through the steps, you make any adjustments needed, and then one of the last steps that you get to is the making changes to check-in form. So this is the default check-in form that will show up for this client. If we don't want to change it, we can send it out like this. But if for any reason you want to remove questions, add some new ones, whatever you want to do, you can do that right here in the check-in form check. And then if you are all set with that, we can go to the last page, which is a view summary. And two interesting things happen here, because first of all, any changes that we did make, such as, for example, we made updates to the macros, are going to be summarized, as well as other things like added workouts and so forth. And we have our box here to attach a response to our check-in. Our client is going to receive this package here. So the changes we made, as well as the box with check-in responses. So what we can do is, if we have made that Loom video with some review, we can paste the Loom link right into here for it to be attached to the response. What we also can do is just type in here, right? If we want to do a quick review, hey, awesome job this week. I've adjusted X, Y, and Z. Let's keep going. Check in next week, right? Just type that in here as well. That's completely up to you. Going to say this here, but once you are done with that, you're going to send and schedule. And what happens is this package with any adjustments and any of your comments or video links are going to be sent out to the client immediately, notify them that you've responded to their check-in. And what we can see now is that the next check-in is scheduled for Monday, December 29th. Reminders are set up. The client knows what's going on. Automatic reminders will be following up with them. And your only workflow is to now wait again until the next check-in comes in, so you can go through this progress again, reviewing, making videos if needed, showing the client if needed, making adjustments while you schedule the next. And that's really the recommended workflow. And the main recommendations I have here is, number one, if you work with a significant amount of clients, utilize the What's Happening Today dashboard, as well as your active client list sorted by check-ins to keep track of everything. That's tip number one. Tip number two, make sure that if you do review with certain clients, depending on how you do it, text form, video, call, that you utilize these type of views in the different ways that I mentioned, for example, with the Loom video, and you do that while in this check-in process. And biggest tip number three is the fact that very, very useful within our check-in features, you always, while making adjustments and scheduling, have a bunch of information at your disposal for client metrics, messages, profile, everything like that. So utilize it. See all of these things while you're still in the same page, so you don't have to hop between different pages or even different softwares. You have everything right here to make those adjustments. If you utilize that, your workflow is going to be a lot more efficient. Now, trust me, I work with coaches that have a ton of clients, do a lot of different check-ins, but utilizing these features and these workflows, especially once they've gotten used to it, has allowed them to do a lot of check-ins, make them hyper-personalized, and be very effective with making adjustments based on check-ins. And that's how the check-in feature in MyCoach AI is built. That is the recommended workflow that I recommend you start with and try out for yourself. And I think you're going to like it. So give it a go. And if you're not part yet of MyCoach AI, you definitely should come give it a go as well. See what it does to your check-ins. We have a lot more info on our website, so go watch the link in our description to find out more. And hopefully I'll see you on the other side, or I'll see you in the next video.